Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a fantastic day so far. In today's video I am creating a look with the Dark Fantasy palette from Beauty Bay. Now I know that they released this approximately a year ago, but I've only just got my hands on it. I got it secondhand on Vinted and honestly I'm absolutely thrilled. Like, look at this look. I am chuffed to bits. So I'm swatching it for you and showing you through this look. So if you want to see how I created this, then just keep on watching. I bet you weren't expecting me to look like this at the start of the video. I am so excited to get into this palette today. The Beauty Bay Dark Fantasy palette. I basically regretted not buying this the second that they stopped selling it on the Beauty Bay website. So I picked this up from Vinted. They have discontinued old, no longer in circulation eyeshadow palettes on Vinted, and you're only allowed to sell makeup on there that is still in the box, unused, not touched, completely sanitary. So I picked this up for £3.50 plus of course postage, fees, etc. I'm so excited. So I know that they don't make this anymore, but if this was a palette that you also regretted missing out on, there are options. Like, just type it in on Vinted, or I don't know, like I only ever really use Vinted. I'm sure they'll probably have them on like Depop and places as well, but I know that on Vinted you're only allowed to sell makeup that is still in its box, sealed, completely unused. Like, they do keep up with that. So I'm gonna get into this one. I don't actually know at this stage what sort of look I'm going to go for today. I'm obviously going to be swatching all of these, but you will know what look I end up with because you'll have seen it in that little clip at the beginning. But I can't even really remember what shades are in here. I just know that they are my sort of tones. Ooh, the greens. I forgot about the greens. I knew that there were purples. I forgot that there were greens. Oh my goodness, these look so autumnal. These are like falling off my face as well. Maybe not my favourite eye patches I've ever tried. So this is what the palette looks like. Obviously you've got a really big mirror, which is great. It's a 20 pan palette. And on first impression, I haven't counted, but first impression I feel like it's around about 50-50 for mattes to shimmers, which is my preference. I don't like it when a palette has too many shimmers. Like, yes, the shimmers are pretty, but we need good matte options. So I'm gonna go off and swatch all of these and then we'll come up with some sort of an eye look. Okay, so we have Hack, which is a matte white, not showing up the most, but it is a matte white, like, come on. Then we have Hoax, which is a matte brown, very cool toned, but actually that shade would probably be pretty much perfect for in the crease for my sort of skin tone. Then we have Transmission, which looks in the pan just like gold, but that actually has a sort of greeny undertone to it. So reflective. Wow. Then we have Plasma, which is a matte green. Oh, I was expecting that to be a bit darker. That's quite bright actually. Then we have Virtual, and this is a matte black with silver glitters in it. So it's not a shimmer, it is a matte shade, but it has silver shimmers in it that are so subtle but also incredibly reflective. That's such a unique shade. I don't know if I have anything like that in my collection. Then we have Reality, which is basically the same colour as my t-shirt, which wasn't planned, but always welcome. I feel like that's a really great basic shade for the season. Then next up is another shimmer, and this one is more bronzy. This one is called Encrypted, and that's like a foil. That is blinding. Then we have Slime, which is another matte green, but this one is definitely more neon. Even in the pan that looks more neon, but on the swatch that one is incredible, and that's a matte. And then we have Machine, which, yes, I was just about to say, which I think will match my nail varnish pretty much perfectly, and indeed it does. Let me just do another layer of that one. Yes, that's green, and then it has like a goldy reflect to it. That's really, really pretty. Then next up we have Spaced, which looks like a beautiful matte forest green. That is so pigmented. Oh my gosh, that swatch would have gone on for days if I'd let it. Then, so this is like all of the greens. The top half is very green and then the bottom half is very purple. So I'm like running out of room. Let me roll my sleeve up. Then next up we have Nightmare, which is a purple shimmer. Ooh, and that is like a duochrome-y sort of. It's got like a pink shift to it. That's so pretty. Then we have Grunge, which is a matte purple. Very deep, very dark, matte purple. Let me do another little layer on that one. Yeah, that's built up nicely. I feel like we're getting into the smoky, spooky vibes now. Like green and purple together, I absolutely love. They look so good. Then next up is another of these blinding shimmers, and this one is called Hack. And that's like metallic silver but with a pink sort of undertone to it. That's again a very, very unique shade. These eye patches are falling off my face and driving me insane. Then we have Algorithm, which is a warmer, slightly lighter brown, my perfect sort of transition tone, and that one is a matte. And then we have Distortion, wow, which is another like duochrome. That is so pretty. Like that's almost like a brown to purple shift. That is so pretty. I know I'm saying that for every shade, but wow. And then onto the last row we have the classic, a matte black. And that is actually not showing up as pigmented as I thought it would. Definitely builds up though, like definitely not a bad shade. And that one's called Dark Matter. Very, very useful, of course, to always have a matte black in a palette. Then we have Grime, which is a slightly darker grey silvery tone, but that is, you know, incredibly blinding. It's quite hard to like twist my arm so that it catches the light, but you get the idea. And then this one I am so interested in. The cat is now coming down to join me. This one is called Sauce, and oh, that colour, oh, she's, hi. That is like a lilac with a blue reflect to it. Again, almost like a duochrome. Not glittery, just catches the light. Oh, that's so pretty. That with the greens. Yes, please. And then the last two in the palette, this one is called Code. And as I suspected, this is like a white silver topper, glittery sort of a topper. So pretty, quite similar to one of my favourite shades of the whole year, which is also in a Beauty Bay palette. It's in the Retro Love palette, and I can't remember the name of it, but I've spoken about it so many times before, where it's that like topper that goes over the top of any other shade, but it's like the most intense glitter. You know which one I mean. And then the last shade right down here on my elbow is Hardcore, which is the deepest, darkest navy blue. I don't know which colours I want to use. Definitely the greens and definitely the purples. I think what I might do is, of course, do some sort of an eye base first, take these off because they're driving me insane. Some sort of an eye base, and then like a green smoky eye with a cut crease with one of these purples. Yeah. But first things first, I need to take these off because they're driving me insane. The Primark ones. So first things first, I'm going to just put on a little bit of the Beauty Bay eye base right across the eyes, blend that out with a brush, do my brows, and then we can create some sort of an eye look. And as always with these videos, like, if you have this palette, get it out, sit down with me, do some sort of an eye look as well, have a little play, and let me know how you get on. Okay, so the eye base is on, the eyebrows are on, and I've got a real thick layer of eye cream now under the eyes. I'm just gonna clip my hair back so that we can focus. Let's zoom you in and let's create something, shall we? So I'm starting with a small blending brush, and I'm going to dip into Plasma. I'm going straight green this time, straight into Plasma, this shade here, which is a matte, and I'm going to work this into the crease. So I'm just blending the top edge of that shade out with a big fluffy brush. And how incredible is that colour? First off, like this right across the lid, like packed on really dense with more of like a warmer brown through the crease. How incredible would that colour look? Obviously not what we're doing today, but how incredible would that look? Then I'm just gonna stick with the same brush, the very small little blending brush, and I'm going to dip into Spaced, which was that darker green, and I'm going to keep that more on the outer half-ish and blend it through the crease as well, but obviously lower down so that we keep that intensity of that brighter green, because that looks incredible. So I'm just going in with a second brush, slightly bigger, slightly fluffier, and I've dipped into that first shade. I'm like trying to get out of the way. Dipped into that Plasma shade that I put on first, just to blend out that top edge and keep it bright. I don't want it to go too dark. Obviously we've got dark colours on and it will end up there, but I don't want it to be there just yet. So the colour is very much building up. I love those two together. I definitely feel like you could go in with something brighter, one of the more like goldeny shades, and make this more of a green based look. Obviously you could absolutely do that. Again, not what I'm going to be doing today. I'm like giving you options here. There's different things that you can do with an eyeshadow palette with 20 shades in it, obviously. So I do feel like I'm happy with the amount of green now. I'm going to go in with a Cotton Wool Cosmetic Bud. These are the ones that are like pointy on one end and round on the other. And I'm going to take some micellar water and just cut the crease very, very loosely, like quite roughly, just so that, woo, I've just covered myself in micellar water, just so that I can then put more of the eye base on, and then we can go in with one of the purples. So now that I have like created that shape, I can see that there's not as much green as I would like in that like inner half. So I'm gonna go in with a tiny brush, like the tiniest little brush that I have that's like still an eyeshadow brush. Of course you could go in with like a nail art brush, but I'm going to use this one, and I'm going to go into, what am I going to go into? I'm going to just dip back into that Plasma shade, and I'm just going to build that up a tiny little bit more right on that line that I've made there with the micellar water. I just want it to be a bit greener. I have accidentally blended that green basically right into my eyebrows in the centre, which isn't necessarily the vibe I was going for, but it's absolutely the vibe that we've got now, which is fine. I added some of the slime shade, that brighter green, to really make it pop brightly green in that centre area, and I feel like just a tiny little bit more blending where that dark green is, and then I might be happy. Okay, so I'm going to take just a little bit more of that Beauty Bay eye base, and how am I going to do this? I'll just put it on my hand and then take it with a small brush so that I can like properly get up to that line. I don't know why I think I can do this with the mirror that's like a metre away from me. Really close up to my mirror and paint this onto that blank area on the lid. So I'm just very lightly tapping over where I'm putting the eye base down and over that darkest green, like on the lid, so that we can get a little bit of a blend. And then, do I just go in with my finger or do I use a brush? I think I might try and use a brush. So I've got a very dense, flat little brush, and I'm going to go into that Nightmare shade, that purple that I said was shimmery and had a little bit of a unique reflect to it. This one here, and I'm going to obviously not worry about fallout because I can just wipe it away, but I'm loading that up on the brush. I'm going to tilt my head back and tap that onto the eye base. I don't feel like I'm getting the payoff that I want. Let me try and use my finger. Oh, so much better. Okay, so I'm just going to have to be very, very careful. Not a word that's usually in my vocabulary, but let's try. So I'm actually able to get those two colours to blend quite nicely across the lid there. I don't feel like that is too much of a step. I mean, I've got a lot of fallout under my eyes. I'm glad I did my eyes first. I do, however, feel like, and I don't know which shade I want, I feel like I want something to like pop down the centre. I'm thinking maybe one of these lighter, brighter silvers. Let's go in with Hack, this shade here, and I'm just going to take a little bit of that on my finger and tap it onto the purple. I feel like I just want it a little bit brighter. So then lastly, before I clean all of this up, I'm going back in with that first brush, back into Spaced, that darkest green, this one, and I'm just going to tap over that outer corner just to make sure that it's blending into that purple seamlessly. Okay, so I am thrilled with how that is looking, apart from where I blended that green a little bit too far up in the front here. I am so happy with how that's looking. So I'm going to take a cotton pad with some micellar water on, and I'm going to clean up under there like that. A little something like that. I'm also just going to make sure I don't have any fallout on the rest of my face. Obviously we've done quite a lot here so far today, so just making sure there isn't any glitter on the rest of my face, and then liner, obviously. So obviously it is the Profusion Everlasting Waterproof Liquid Liner. I'm also going to do mascara. I'm also going to do the rest of my base, and then we can do something on the under eye. How about that? Okay, so the rest of the base is on. Let's do something with these under eyes, because we all know how much I love a smoky under eye. So I'm gonna go in with that first very dense, fluffy, not dense, it's fluffy. It's been a very, very long day. I'm going back in with that first brush, and I don't know what to do under the eyes. Do I just do green or do I do purple? Could do purple, couldn't I? Yeah, I'm going to do purple. So going in with that first brush, which I'm wiping on my trousers to clean off. I know, that's just the sort of person that I am. Going in with that into the shade Grunge, and I'm dipping in very lightly on the end of there, and I'm tapping it off because there is no wiping if this goes wrong now. Tapping, and I'm just going to smoke that along the lower lash line. And I'm joining that up on the outer corner so it sort of just looks nice and smoky. I love that purple on the under eyes. I feel like that just like ties it all together really nicely. It's a nice little addition to what we've got on the eyes. Thrilled with that. And am I done? Do I want something really bright on the inner corner? Like right on the inner corner? Yeah. So I'm going to go in with a very dense sort of pencil brush into Code, that second to last shade, and I'm going to, ooh, that's really like chunky glittery. I think that that's going to look incredible though. Just going to tap that right onto that inner corner. That looks so good. I love that shade. Oh my goodness, is that going to be my new favourite eyeshadow? Yeah. That inner corner shade. So it's like a topper where you can like see the green underneath it, but it's so chunky glittery, but in the best possible way. I absolutely love that shade. Okay, so I'm going to just put a little bit more mascara. This is the mascara that I put on the top lashes, the Beauty Bay one. I'm just going to put a little bit on the bottom lashes and then we're done. So this is the finished look. Do let me know what you think. I hope that you were playing along as well. If you had this palette, I hope that you grabbed it and you played along with me today, because honestly, I am absolutely thrilled with how this has turned out. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I would love it if you would subscribe down below if you haven't already. I am posting a brand new video every single day this month. It's absolute craziness, but if you want to come along for the ride, I would love it if you would subscribe down below. But until next time, thank you ever so much for watching. Bye.